Howdy! It's Jim Morado, and this is the middle of March 2024, and we are at the Lexington Cemetery here in Lexington, Kentucky, and we wanted to go by here because the cherry blossoms were doing their thing, and we just thought it would be a nice time to swing by. I actually spend quite a bit of time here. It's a very nice place to go for a walk, or even go for a drive. When people come up from out of town, this is kind of one of those underrated places. It's just really nice to go to. Of course, lots of celebrities are buried here. Maybe most notably Jim Varney, famous Lexingtonian, and it's always nice to go and pay respects to him. Several other people, of course, if you're interested in the Civil War, this place is. One of the Civil War magazines called it the second most significant Civil War cemetery after Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. John Hunt Morgan, Breckinridge are both buried here, as are the monuments to those guys were recently moved to the cemetery. And of course, most of Mary Todd Lincoln's family are buried here. Yeah, and just checking out those trees. Look at them. They are spectacular. Lots of people doing, we saw couples doing photographs, and just other people set up. Kind of hidden, if you look around, you will see some very professional photographers doing photo shoots out here. And that was pretty cool. And there's one little area in particular where the trees really look their best. And we went and we walked there. They actually had signs up like "Don't drive here." They had a sign kind of blocking stuff. And as you could tell, we saw at least one car ignore that sign. And that happens. It was no big deal. But there were a lot of people out here just enjoying a nice day at the Lexington Cemetery. And we drove around the cemetery a little bit just because it's always nice to drive around. Oh, and of course Henry Clay. Henry Clay is buried here. We drive by his monument here in a moment, I believe. And I have put up at least another video, on the Lexington Cemetery. Not on a day with all the cherry blossoms showing off, but just on another day to show you some of the many, many fine monuments that are here. And of course, as someone who's interested in the Civil War, I always wonder about, people like John Hunt Morgan, Jefferson Davis, who went to Transylvania University, and Mary Todd, the future Mrs. Lincoln, who grew up really, within walking distance of those guys. Surely at some point in history, Mary Todd would have had a conversation with Jefferson Davis. It's not documented, but I always think surely that happened at some point. She had to have rubbed elbows with him and crossed paths with him. And I'm sure with John Hunt Morgan also. And looking around a little more, looking at those trees, looking at the monuments. Are you from Lexington? I'd love to hear from some other locals, and I would love to hear what they appreciate about the cemetery. Lots of other stuff to talk about, too. There's so many rabbit holes you could go down when it comes to the Lexington Cemetery. I mentioned Jim Varney earlier. Of course, he was famous for his Hayvern commercials. Ernest P. Worrell, he made some movies and totally cashed in on his quirky character that he came up with. He did spend some time acting at the Pioneer Playhouse in Danville. And I was watching some old reruns of Alice several months ago, and he popped up, just kind of as some guy that Flo was dating one night. And it was kind of cool seeing him before his more famous days. And of course, the Henson family has told the story that Jim Varney was the kind of guy who could do Shakespeare. He was a brilliant, brilliant actor. And he will always be known for Hayvern. There's the Henry Clay Monument right there. And of course, you can just drive around and look at all of these spectacular monuments. They are Oh, heck, they're common in this cemetery. And you can get lost here. I know there's just a ton to check out. But yeah, if you're from Lexington, let me know. Drop me a line. What do you like to look for at the cemetery? What's your favorite part of it? And we're pulling out of the cemetery right now. We're gonna take a left, and if you go down the street a little more, you're gonna run into the Mary Todd Lincoln home, Rupp Arena. There's some Corman trains up here, and you can see a little bit of the Lexington skyline. But yeah, just a very short drive from Rupp Arena. If you're visiting town, you can go and see the Lexington Cemetery.